Welcome. My name is William Santiago. I've created this webinar, another one that I've come up with and constructed. It's titled Intro to Breez Wallet PoS Mode for Merchants. PoS means point of sale, so it's depicted specifically for merchants and the ability to create, have a wallet that accepts Lightning payments, which is part of the Bitcoin innovation. What will we be doing in this webinar is basically we're going to talk about the actual mobile app. What does it mean to what is the Breez Mobile App, and we're also going to mention a few things about the reasons for using the Lightning wallet. Why do we actually? What's the innovation behind it and the reason behind using the Lightning wallet? And finally, we'll have a demonstration of how this point of sale would work in real practice, just so that we all have an idea of how this works. So first, we're going to start with what is the Breez Mobile App. It's an open source mobile app that allows users to send and receive instantaneous Bitcoin payments. And what I mean instantaneous, that's a feature or a requirement that is kind of lacking in Bitcoin, because it takes normally 10 minutes for a transaction to be confirmed in the network. So for a merchant's point of view, you're looking at something that competes with Visa and MasterCard. So that instantaneous feeling basically is what the Bitcoin network needed. And this is where the Lightning payments come into play, or they would call them the Bitcoin payments. But some of the features or the idea behind the mobile app is bring simplicity. The idea is to use your mobile device to pay friends or merchants. So either you're using as a personal wallet that you buy and sell or send and receive payments using the Lightning network or the Bitcoin network as well. So in other words, using the 10-minute confirmation, or you can use the Lightning instantaneous kind of. It's exactly the same token. So you're still sending Bitcoins. It's just they're being sent in a slightly different way, different setup. And it's actually a layer 2 on top of Bitcoin. It's also very fast. So it takes seconds to send and receive Bitcoin payments versus 10 minutes, like I mentioned before. But in the case of Bitcoin, we are actually competing with Visa and MasterCard, which basically takes seconds, or it seems that it takes seconds for a transaction to go through. It's also very safe. It's safer than even the Visa and MasterCard in the sense that it's non-custodial. Your Bitcoins are always with you. And what does non-custodial means is that non-custodial is that the possession of that value, or that token that you have, in this case, that's Satoshis, or also called Bitcoins. These are in control of the user. The user has possession of that. So it's very similar to cash. So if you lose your dollar bill or your guilder or your pound, you literally lose it. You can't go back to the bank and say, can you give my money back? If it's custodial, like a Coinbase, for example, wallet, it means that the company, in other words, Coinbase is acting like a bank. They have control of that value of that token. So you really don't lose them, or if you miss, like in a transaction, a Visa MasterCard transaction, you might say, well, it's somebody else that initiated that transaction. It's not me. I would like to reverse that transaction. That can be done because you don't have control of that value. This other third party has control. So this is specifically for non-custodial scenario, in which this wallet really the user has possession. In this case, the merchant has possession of that value of those tokens. So the Breez Mobile App PoS mode, or point of sale mode, it basically accepts instantaneous Bitcoin payments with what they call a Breez point of sale. So the point of sale mode is a mode that you activate on the wallet. So it's a traditional Bitcoin wallet, Bitcoin/Lightning wallet, but it has this point of sale mode that you can turn on to use it in your either retail store or restaurant or small business. So it provides merchants with a simple point of sale app to start accepting Bitcoin's payments very fast. So that's the whole the whole idea of this is to get this entrepreneur up and running on the Lightning Network. It also has a multiple service feature on the mobile app. It combines a full service Lightning service provider, but in other words, there's an integration to the Lightning Network that needs to happen. So what Breez does, it kind of like helps whoever owns or has this Breez application to use those services. So the user doesn't have to onboard that back end. So that's a very important feature. It's a trade-off because obviously you're letting a third party do some of the work. In this case, being like a service provider. It creates an intuitive point of sale app for merchants. That's what it supports. It's seamless and again, non-custodial end user app. So it's very important that even though you have a third party that's giving you that infrastructure or the ability to join the Lightning Network, you are owner of your own Bitcoins and you have possession of them. They don't have, the network doesn't have that, or the Breez app doesn't have that. You're in control at all times. So the Breez Mobile App has certain features that are unique to this point of sale mode. It allows for the filling of orders and charging of customers. The basic point of sale, that's exactly what you want it to do. You want to be able to fill orders in a very quick way. So if you're a waiter, you want to have a menu onboarded into the point of sale, so you can then, as the customers order their food, you can input the prices and have a finality basically. You can also at the same time use that same app to charge the customers. This in turn allows the merchants, and we'll see an example of this, is to have a catalog, a very simple catalog. For example, if you're a restaurant, you could have a list of items in the menu, so you can import that into the POS mode part, of that. So it's like having that list inside your POS. If you have multiple waiters, they could have multiple. Each one has a copy of that list in their point of sale. So it's very easy to have that catalog in the point of sale. It also has the ability to display the prices in this item list, for example, an up-to-date Bitcoin price and also an up-to-date fiat rates. So that conversion. So you will see a list of fiat currencies that you can enable depending on your location, but you can also display the Bitcoin side, which is the same as Satoshis, and you can also include the Satoshi. So you will see all these types of functions in the demonstration at the very end, but the idea, you can have display multiple prices. And another very good feature that has is the ability to export the transactions in a spreadsheet format, CSV file. So this is a way in which you can export those transactions for that teller or for that retail waiter, for example, in that restaurant, to see the transactions that waitress or waiter did during their shift. So you can export that, use it for accounting purposes, for business reporting, or even for tax purposes as well. So it's a very handy way in which you can export the transactions as well. So what are the reasons? There are basically two reasons for using the Lightning wallet or a Lightning wallet. The first one is the biggest one is the lower transaction fees. Normally, a credit card charges 2 to 3 to 4%, 6%. I mean, it depends, but credit card transactions, some of the debit transactions as well have some fees involved for the traditional legacy fiat systems. The Lightning Network, just because it runs on top of the Bitcoin network, there's no confirmation at the point of transaction. So these transactions happen at lightning speeds. That's why it's called the Lightning Network. It happens instantaneously. So you can very efficiently compete with the Visa and MasterCard type of network. So you can have that heavy load of transactions in the Lightning Network and be seamless. It's literally production ready to compete with MasterCard and Visa. This is all happening on the Lightning Network. The difference with this is that the amounts of these transactions are obviously lower. You won't be doing these type of transactions with higher amounts of value in terms of, like, for example, when you're purchasing a car or a house, we're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars. That creates a stress on the amount of liquidity in the network. So obviously, these are for low-end transactions, basically retail transactions. The cup of coffee, the pizza, the Diet Coke, the restaurant, maybe a wine, or smaller amounts in terms of volume. But this is important because the fees we're talking about are they're not even cents; they're fractions of a cent. So they're very low transaction fees. One of the things to enable this is that the wallet needs to have, in terms of Breez, it needs to have a certain amount of initial sats. In other words, the fractions of the Bitcoin. And we're talking about, right at this point in time, is about 17 cents per wallet, or per point of sale, basically, to receive sats in the Lightning Network. So there's a small amount but we're talking about 17 cents. That's manageable by most retailers. So that's not a big issue. And another big reason to use the Lightning a Lightning wallet is how fast these transaction speeds. Not only the fees, we talked about the speed, but the speed of these transactions are, again, competing with the Visa and MasterCard. So these are the main two features and reasons for using the Lightning wallet, which is a reaction to the initial deployment of the Bitcoin network, 10 years, 10 years ago. That's what we are now. So we have fully come back to circle in terms of providing this feature that was missing. So there's some assumptions that we want to talk about when conducting this demonstration. We assume that the merchant has never used Bitcoin. So it has to be simple enough for anybody to start using and receiving Bitcoins. You don't want to have experience in using Bitcoins. You also have to have an Android or an iOS mobile phone or tablet. And in the demonstration, I'll show you a link where you can download the application for the Android and the iOS. So these are the basic two that we have at the moment for point of sale function and having a wallet. Another assumption is you have to assume that there is connectivity, either Wi-Fi or mobile data. So the application needs to connect to the internet. So there's got to be some internet connectivity in place. So let's go ahead and start the demo. Before I get to the steps of the demonstration, let me just bring the wallets over to the screen. So this one, the first one on the dark mode or dark complexion here, this is the retail, the restaurant. In the case of the demonstration, we're demonstrating a restaurant. So we have a waiter that has their point of sale is in a specific company, they call it a company phone, that the application is loaded on. So obviously it looks very similar to a POS. So you have your list, you have your list of item list, for example. You have a keypad and items, and I have that phone right here. So I'm going to switch over to keypad. And as you can see, it switched over to keypad and items. So this is basically the waiter's kind of POS on their hands. On the other side, which is right here, we have the owner's wallet. It could be there's all kinds of Lightning wallets, but let's stick to the Breez wallet. And as you can see, they have 17.64 guilders, because we have different fiat. But let me just switch it over to dollars, and you see there that you have $9.83. So that's 3,000 or 30,626 sats. That's what we have in the owners, and the owner can receive and send. As you can see here, you can click on receive, and it will say, okay, do you want to receive an invoice? Do you want to receive via BTC address, or you can even buy Bitcoins with some other services. So we'll go through this demonstration in a second. You can also send, so you can paste an invoice, connect to pay, or send to BTC address. So a very typical wallet that you have to send and receive in the Bitcoin Lightning network. So that's the owner's, let's call it the company's checking account or savings account. Let's call it that way, where the owner has possession of that those assets in the company has, right? So the first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and no, that's not the one that I wanted to. Let me just go back. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to install the Breez Wallet application. So that's the first step. So very simple step. Most of us have loaded some kind of application on either the iPhone or the Android, but I'm going to do it on the left-hand side. I'm going to go ahead and go to the Play Store. So I'm going to the Play Store. I type in my search bar, I type Breez app, and you'll get only one. There's only one out there, and you basically install this on your phone. So very simple step. People know how to do this. That's the first thing you want to do. This is the actual link. So if you can't find it in the App Store, you can go ahead and download Breez and Breez.technology, and you will get to that the ability to pick iOS or Android. So the next step in this PoS demonstration is once you open the application, you will, in my case, I already have it set up for demonstration purposes, but if you've never set it up, you have to either have a backup phrase already, which we will demonstrate how to do this, or you create a brand new wallet from scratch. So in this case, we're gonna assume we create a brand new wallet from scratch, and we go ahead and so in the top left corner of the application, you have that little calculator there. You click on it. Those are the settings. It brings up different areas, so balance, podcasts, apps, transactions. So what you want to do for generating the backup phrases, you want to go ahead and click on Preferences, and under Preferences, you're going to go to Security and Backup. When you get to Security and Backup, there's several things you can do here. You can create a PIN, and a PIN is it's a design feature, allows for the protection of in this case, the POS, for the protection of and the security of the waiter in this scenario, so that if the waiter goes to the back, has to get a break and puts the phone, it doesn't want, if it locks up, you want to make sure that there's a PIN associated to that specific waiter to protect themselves from executing transaction that they didn't control. But it can also be set up by the administrator. So the administrator itself or the owner could have those pins as well. So it's just an extra layer of security. But you have another item called the Store Backup Data, and it says Google Drive. So assuming you have a Google account, you can pick in Android. Most cases you do. You pick Google Drive. So that basically says that you're going to pick Google Drive to be the store of your backup. You can also pick a remote server. There's other setups that you can do, and there's documentation that explains how to set up a remote server for your own. So you don't want to use Google services, basically. But in my case, I use Google Drive for it, and you can see it initiates a backup in progress. So because I have encrypted this key, this backup, I have basically every time you engage on it, it will go out and back it up. But what you want to do is you want to go ahead and click on Encrypt Cloud Backup, which I've done already. But when you encrypt Cloud Backup and you click on that, you will get it's kind of like a wizard scenario where it's going to walk you through the writing down or the reading and writing down of 24 English words, and that's going to comprise of a 24 kind of a phrase or 24 words that you will be writing down from the English dictionary. So they're not very difficult passwords or anything like that. There's just 24 words that you will back them. You're going to write these down, and you're going to save them in a safe place for your restore purposes in case you lose your device or in case something happens to your backup in Google, for example, it goes away, your account gets locked up, whatever happens. Nobody can take those those funds because that's the keys to your funds. But because it's encrypted with those 24 words, the 24 words are very important. So that's what you want to keep safe offline in some kind of paper wallet or something that you can write down and keep safe. Once you have done that, then you completed that part of the backup security and backup. So that basically that's a very important step, and then one of the first steps that you want to do after you install the application. The next step in terms of a POS is you want to create a manager password. This is the owner password basically. And you go to the top left and you click on point of sale, and then you go to preferences, and then you have a setting down at the bottom that says point of sale settings. You click on that and you can see that it's asking for this specific manager. Now, I have already set this up, so I'm just going to walk you through it, but I've already set that password, so I'm going to enter that password right here. So as you can see, I've entered that password, and it gives me access to that. Because remember, this is the waiter with their application, and they're not supposed to be going in here. So only the manager or the owner is the one that can get into this area of the application. And here you have things like payment cancellation timeout in seconds, how long before the transaction has to be regenerated. And then you have to activate manager password. So you want to go ahead and click on that, and it's going to walk you through just entering a brand new password. 8 characters, the minimum. We've gone through those steps. So you create that password. In my case, I have the option to change the password. So if my password gets compromised as an owner, I would like to be able to change it. So that's basically creating the manager. So once you've done that part, you exit back out. You're a manager. It really activates. What it does, it activates because you're giving the phone back or the point of sale right back to the waiter. The next part that you want to do is you want to import and export, and this is optional, but you can want to import and export an item list, because as you can see on the keypad, if I go to items, I see a bunch of items in there, and I see pizza, burger, cola, diet cola. You have all these things, salad. So you could import your whole menu into this list. So the way to do that, it's again, you go back to top left, you go to point of sale, preferences, and you click on point of sale settings. And again, it's asking for the same password because again, you got out into the point of sale. It's trying to protect because now you're entering into a sensitive area. So you hand this to the manager or the owner, and the manager takes it and puts the password, gets in it, and says, okay, yeah. Go to the item list, and you can have these 3 dots there. You can click on them, and you see import from CSV or export to CSV. So you can prepare that CSV. You can export it and have like a template where you can create your own menu and add it, and then upload that file back into the list. You can also add things like the business address if you wanted to in that point. But once you import that list, you will see it in the list right here. And the list has the ability to also display if you want the menu to be in dollars or in this case, Antillean guilders or any other local fiat currencies. And that's basically, and this is an optional item that you can do, either item or keypad. Just enter each item as you wish. Another part that you can do is you can change the fiat currencies. Very important, because depending on where you implement this wallet, depending on where the merchant is located, they can have different customers that pay with different currencies. Besides Lightning, they might be paying in Lightning, but you want to have the ability to depict that in a specific currency for that country. So the way to do that is you go up to Breez, the top left. Again, the same thing. Go to preferences, and on the top you say Fiat Currencies. So you go to Fiat Currencies, and it gives you a list of all the different currencies that are available. You pick the one. So in this case, we have picked 2. We're in Curacao. Curacao has the ANG, so the Netherlands Antilles Guilder have selected that, and we have some customers that pay in US dollars, so I can pick that as well. So I pick those 2, I go back, and when I activate those 2 fiat currencies, it gives me the option on the right to take, right now it's ANG, you see there, I'm going to click on it, and it basically gives me the other options, the BTC, the SATs, ANG, and USD. So you have the 4 different currencies You can have more. Obviously, if you can take out the USD, for example, and leave it on Antillian killer as well. But this allows you to do these types. So let's go through the scenario of accepting and receiving a Bitcoin Lightning in this demonstration. So let's say I walk up to I'm the waiter, and I go to a table and they want to place an order. So they look through the menu and say, yeah, I would like to have a pizza and a cola. So the person orders a pizza and a cola. You can see it goes up into, you got 2 items in a cart, and you can do it that way, or you can use a keypad and say, they want to get fries, which I don't have in the menu. I can say, I can then add 3 guilders to that. So it adds the 3 guilders to it, and you can see the 3. So I go back to the cart and I see 3 items. Obviously, one of the items has no description, but it costs 3. It was fries. It was not on the menu. And at the bottom, you see charge the customer, because the customer is ready to pay. Maybe they got the food already, but let's assume that that's the case. You click on charge, and it displays the actual invoice. This is actually an invoice that gets generated by the Lightning Network. And it has different things in here. You have 19042, that's the amount of sats, which are equivalent to 11 guilders in that fiat currency. You also have a timer, which means this specific invoice is valid for 1 minute, in this case 1 minute. You have a timer going through. You can clear the sale, or you can just cancel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab let's say the owner's phone, which I have here, and you can see on the right display there, that I'm going to go ahead and send and pay. So what I'm going to do is press that middle button that says that has that little circle at the bottom. I'm going to press on that, and it creates the camera. So now the camera is activated, and as you can see, I'm going over the phone and I'm scanning that waiter's point of sale, and it comes up and says, okay, you're going to generate 19042 sats, and you compare, make sure that that's exactly what you're paying. It doesn't display the 11 guilders because we're doing a transaction to be more precise in terms of satoshis, so that's sats. 1940, you approve, you say, yeah, that's that I want, and the transaction in lightning speeds gets paid. As you can see, that's how fast that transaction happened. So the value transfer happened instantaneously, and it's final. So it's not like Visa or MasterCard, where these type of transactions seem to be happening instantaneously, but they actually batched end of the day, or maybe two times a day, that they get transferred over to the Visa network, and there's batching involved basically. So that's basically how you receive and send Bitcoin. Now, going back to the actual point of sale has only the ability to receive Lightning payments, but you can also receive Bitcoin payments as well. But you would have to enable the send and receive, not from the point of sale, but from the send and receive part. So if I go back to the owner's, basically the owner's phone, I can then very easily say, oh, you know what, I want to receive, but in this case I'm going to receive Bitcoins, because somebody wants to send me in Bitcoins. Maybe it's a big purchase from the supermarket or something like that. You create the receive Bitcoins, and then what it does, it generates an actual, not a Lightning invoice, but it's actually a Bitcoin invoice. And it gives some information about the fees, because obviously there's a platform that requires fees to transact into the main chain. So it's not as the transaction fees. There are transaction fees involved in the main when you're actually going on chain, but it gives you the ability to receive. If I go back and I want to send, I can also pay in paste an invoice or send BTC address. But when you send BTC address, you can have the ability to scan somebody else's QR code. If that's the case, you can put a Bitcoin address in there, just a traditional way of sending. You can change the amounts as well. You can click on the amount and you can put in dollars, or I can switch over to Antillian guilders, put $25 because I'm paying at the supermarket, and it gives you the amount of sats. Well, this is sufficient local balance because I don't have enough 25 because I'm sending. So depending on the balance that the owner has, they can send. So this is the owner should be able to go out and transact as they wish. You don't send your waiters out there to buy and transact. You do it as an owner, you do it yourself. But that's basically it. This is basically the demonstration of how to use the point of sale with this wallet, including other features like treating it like a regular Bitcoin wallet. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Just make sure you subscribe and like buttons down below. And hopefully I'll be making more of these videos for the public, so we can get a little bit more understanding of this life-changing innovation that is the Bitcoin Lightning Network. Thank you.